By mid-August 1944, Normandy had become a race against time. For the Allies, the goal was no longer simply to break the German line, but to prevent the Germans from escaping. Field Marshal Montgomery remained convinced that the German armies could still be encircled and destroyed before they slipped across the Seine River. What followed would become one of the decisive moments of the campaign, the slow, brutal closing of the Falaise Pocket. Operation Totalize had exposed a hard truth. The Sherman tank was outmatched. German guns could destroy it from well over a kilometer, while the Sherman's own 75mm gun was effective only at a much shorter range. Polish tank crews learned this quickly. Like other veteran armored units, they improvised, bolting spare track links to their hulls for extra armor. Operation Totalize cost the Poles dearly, 66 tanks lost, and their performance was sharply criticized by General Guy Simonds, commander of the 2nd Canadian Corps. Whether Simonds underestimated the technical limitations of the Sherman or chose to ignore them remains unclear, but his disappointment was unmistakable. For the next offensive, Operation Tractable, he assigned the task to Canadian formations and kept the Poles in reserve. The pause allowed the Polish division to regroup and absorb hard-earned lessons. Their opportunity came south of Falaise, where the battlefield narrowed into a series of crossings, hills, and villages that controlled the only escape route for the German 7th Army. On August 15th, Major Jan Maciejowski of the 10th Mounted Rifle Regiment faced a choice. A frontal drive on Falaise promised glory and near certain destruction, or a cautious indirect strike east toward the town of Jor to capture the river crossings and roll up behind the Germans. Maciejowski chose the second option. What followed was not a grand charge, but something far more difficult. Methodical fighting through woods, hills, and villages, crawling with German infantry, anti-tank guns, and Panther and Tiger tanks. Polish squadrons advanced cautiously, feeling their way forward, smashing ambushes at close range, taking prisoners, and paying for every 100 meters in blood and steel. At the town of Jor, the battle turned savage. The town was defended by infantry, armor, and guns covering the river crossings. The bridges were blown up as the Poles fought their way in house by house. Tanks burnt in the streets, officers were wounded or killed. One platoon lost most of its vehicles probing German anti-tank positions. Yet, under relentless pressure, helped decisively by Canadian artillery fire, the Germans began to crack. Then came the moment that changed the campaign. Polish tanks reached the River Diva. The river was narrow, marshy, and treacherous. One tank crossed by sheer luck and speed. The rest got stuck and had to be pulled free under fire. Eventually, enough tanks reached the other side of the river. Sappers rushed forward, constructing bridges. Behind them came more tanks and infantry, and the crossing held. By nightfall, Jor was in Polish hands. Losses were heavy, but the result was decisive. The road to Trun was open. When General Maczek arrived, he told the exhausted soldiers, "You have fought a magnificent battle. You do not yet realize what you have achieved." The crossing of the river by the Poles shattered German hopes of forming a new defensive line. German units trying to regroup found themselves funneled into a shrinking corridor. Over the next couple days, Polish scouts climbed the surrounding hills and looked down into what one officer described as a huge cauldron. Roads choked with German vehicles, artillery, and troops fleeing west under constant fire. From Hill 159 and Hill 259, Polish gunners poured shells into the traffic below. Trucks and tanks burned while prisoners from panzer troops, Luftwaffe ground units, and even Waffen-SS were captured. The myth of German invincibility was being destroyed. But the Germans did not surrender quietly. Counterattacks came hard and fast. Panthers and Tigers appeared at close range. Polish units, exhausted after days without rest, endured bombings and artillery fire. Then came the night march towards Chambois. Lieutenant Colonel Stanisław Kosciuszki's battle group moved in darkness, lights off, drivers half asleep. By accident or fate, they turned the wrong way and walked straight into the headquarters of the 2nd SS Panzer Division, Das Reich. The mistake became a gift. With captured documents, German columns were ambushed, and at dawn, fighting erupted as SS units tried desperately to break out. But the Poles stood their ground. When American troops of the 90th Infantry Division arrived, the Falaise Pocket was effectively closed. What followed was some of the most brutal fighting of the entire campaign. Around Trun, Jaux, and Chambois, Polish units held back fanatical attacks by Hitlerjugend divisions. Tiger tanks charged into Polish lines, yet the Poles did not break. On August 19th, Hill 259 became a killing ground. German forces threw themselves forward in one last attempt to escape. The Poles, short of ammunition and sleep, fought at point-blank range. By dusk, the attack had failed. Thousands of Germans surrendered. Others died where they stood. A few, including SS Commander Kurt Meyer, slipped away, only to be captured later. By August 21st, the battle was over. The Falaise Pocket was closed. The German 7th Army and Panzergruppe West had been destroyed. For the Polish 1st Armored Division, the cost was immense, but so was the achievement. They had held the most dangerous sector of the pocket and proved that decisions, momentum, and bravery could decide the fate of armies.